You're no longer African. Those are Americans. We don't need them.
Them coming back to Africa, they will educate us more on what the white people are doing in their countries. So I believe coming back will benefit us as well as Africans.
There is some statements when I hear coming from a black man, I get so much irritated. Like this one, a Ugandan man was asked about black Americans, and I was like, they are not our brothers. They should not come back to Africa, blah, blah, blah. I want you to watch this video and then we react on it, okay? And comment down there what you think about it.
Well, we don't want them here.
What? They're your brothers.
They're not our
and
brothers.
sisters.
They're not our brothers.
They are.
If you were born in America and have lived there for 300 years, you're no longer African. Those are Americans. We don't need them.
We don't need
They
them
were
to develop.
taken away, unfortunately, but they are Americans. We will develop by ourselves. Yeah, we have the capacity, we have the will, we have the resolve. We don't need them. No.
I totally agree with you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
I interviewed one of a Kenyan citizen, African citizen, and she had to say this about black American and about what the Ugandan man has said. Let's watch this one and then we talk about it. Hello, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
What's your name?
Papucho Wanjiko.
Where are you from? Which country are you from?
Country, I'm from Kenya, to be precise.
Question of today. Do you know black Americans?
True, kind of heard of them, but not fully aware.
You haven't met them?
Absolutely.
Do you know, have you ever known something about slavery?
Yeah, true. Kenya was among them.
Okay. So, black Americans were Africans and they were sold during slavery
Okay.
to America. Now they have been there more than 300 years.
Okay.
Do you think that it's time for them to come back to Africa, or if someone has stayed somewhere for more than 300 years, he's no longer African? What do you think about that?
Well, to me, basically, let's say they are Africans, but as much as we want them to come back to Africa, let's say some of them, they have lived for generations to where they have stayed right now, let me say so. They are, what do I say? Their generation first and second, or that generation, that's where they have grown from. That's where they know it's home. So telling them to come back to Africa will be hard of them, because starting from zero up to where they are right now to adapt, it will become like a very big burden to them. So let me say, I would prefer them to stay where they are, because that's their lifestyle now.
Now, there's something we call Pan-Africanism, where we are calling for the unity of black people, unity of black Americans and Africans. And it's being said, when they come back, it will add strength to the African people. Do you think if they come back, they will add something to, to the African fraternity?
Yeah, let me believe so, because they have learned their cultural ways, their religious ways. So on them coming back to Africa, they will educate us more on what the white people are doing in their countries. So I believe coming back will benefit us as well as Africans.
Wow, that's amazing. There is a Ugandan man who said that black Americans are not welcome to Africa because they are not our brothers. What can you tell that man? Do you think he said the right statement?
No, that was totally underestimation, and that's not a very right statement to say, because umoja ni nguvu, but they are still Africans. As long as a man is black, he remains to be an African man. So him saying that they are not welcome, it's not a good statement.
As a Kenyan, what's your message to all black people or African diaspora who are not Africans, who are not in Africa, or all black people, for example, black Americans and Caribbeans? What's your message to all black people?
Let's keep going. Let's keep moving. Let's keep fighting. Let's be strong. Yeah.
Thank you so much. This video that showed you is a 30-second video, but it carries a lot. It has a lot of weight. And I feel not good for him saying this one. He had his own reasons, but I don't know if he is right. Because for me, I don't get it right. For him saying that black Americans are not our brothers because they have been there for centuries is not right. because we are looking forward for the unity of all black people. And we, as we say all black people, we mean Africans, Caribbeans, Africans in diaspora, that are including black Americans. And there are those black Americans who embrace Africa, who they are calling Africa the motherland, who they want to return to Africa. We had something, the year of return in 2019, where massive of black Americans came back to Africa, and some loved Africa and some had their issues and say, they don't want to sit in Africa. But this Ugandan man saying this is not good. And first of all, let us know the history of black American. The history of black American, which is rich and complex narrative that spans centuries, struggles, and significant contribution to the fabric of American society. Now, it begins with the transatlantic slave trade, that is the year 1690s, 1865. The first enslaved Africans arrived in English in 1619 at Jamestown, Virginia. Okay, this marked the beginning of over 2 centuries of chattel slavery in America, where millions of Africans were forcibly transported to the New World. Enslaved people who were from Africa were forced to work on plantations in the southern states, producing crops such as tobacco, cotton, and sugar. They faced brutal conditions, harsh and tough conditions, which when you are placed in that condition, you cannot survive. But our ancestors who were sold there, they faced this condition and they survived for the betterment of today. So even up to today, the society of black Americans continue to push a racial equality in areas like criminal justice reform, economic opportunity, voting rights, and healthcare. The legacies of systematic racism are still evident, but so too are resilience and achievement of black Americans. The fight for the true equality remains ongoing. Okay? The history of black Americans is not just a story of oppression, but also of resilience, cultural flourishing, and significant contribution in the progress of United States. So black Americans, the first statement I made about black Americans is that about the transatlantic slave trade that happens between 16th and 18th. A lot have been happened, and they did not sign it for that. They did not sign it for them to go away from Africa. They did not sign for them to be sold. And truth to be told, our black brothers sold our black brothers during that time. They didn't sell themselves. So when you are talking about black Americans, first of all, we have to have the sympathy and forgive and ask for forgiveness for what our ancestors did to them. They sold our brothers. And so them being there for over 300, 500 years, yes, does not make them, it makes them to be Americans, but still they are the remnants of Africa. Still their roots are in Africa. Still they have, their blood is running Africa. But some people are saying, even some African Americans are saying that they are not Africans. When we talk about the unity of black people, we talk about the unity of black Americans, the unity of Caribbeans and Africans, these three, all black people everywhere in the face of the earth. That's what we are talking about. It's not good to see that some Africans, they don't embrace the black Americans. If black Americans want to trace their way back home, let them trace their way back home. We cannot be the people or the barrier who doesn't want them back home. We want them back home. The Kenyan lady who I interviewed said that when they came back home, they will help us at some point because they have learned the ways of the white people. Because being there for long, they have learned the ways of the white people. They can teach us some few things. We can be strong together. We can be strong if we hold our hands together. There's a comment I came across that I think it was a Caribbean who commented saying that Africans, you need to learn to move on your own. Don't depend on us. And I want to tell you, the one who commented that Africans are moving on their own, but with your plus one with you, it will be more faster. It can't be more faster, but it can be, more stronger and sure. If we move alone, we can go faster, but not sure. We can be dragged down anytime by the white supremacy. The fight between black people is the happiness of the white supremacy. The fight between black Americans and African Americans is what the colonizers want. They don't want us to unite because they know that our black Americans know a lot of things. Okay? So we cannot say that we don't want them. Okay? What we can say is we want them to come back home. Because the place that they are, it's not home. You have been there for 300 years, but it's not home. Even the white people who are here, the white South Africans, I see black people telling them Africa is not their home. So if you want these white people, you want them to go back to their countries, why black Americans not to come back to their country? Yeah, it's a win-win situation. So, and if a white South African, a white African can see Africa as his home and Europe as his home, then even black Americans to see Africa as his home and America as his home. The Indian African to see Africa as their home and India as their home. Chinese who are here to see Africa as their home and China as their home. Is a win-win to all parties. But the issue of black people fighting among each other will not take us anywhere. The issue of black Americans and Jamaicans or Caribbeans colliding will not take us anywhere. The issue of Africans Americans and indigenous Africans fighting will not take us anywhere. I have seen complaints where black Americans are condemning indigenous Africans for not respecting them. Okay? So what we need to do, the solution is for us to leave behind what happened, for us to focus on what will come, for us to focus for the, how we will be at peace and make Africa great. I join hands with black Americans who say that they fight so hard so that another African people or black people can survive well in the Europe. Yeah, it's true. Black Americans fought so hard so that you as a Kenyan, as a Ghanaian, as a South African, you can go to America and be at peace because of the laws and the fight they put with black Americans. So they fought during the slavery period. They are continuing fighting up to now, fighting racism, fighting discrimination, fighting equality. They are fighting every now and then. A black American is walking on the street of New York, not at peace, just fighting with the racism people, the racers. I know. So this Ugandan man, for you saying this, for me, I don't see like you said something good, but maybe on your own perspectives, it's good. I don't know what you say on the comment section about this video because I know you have something to say. If you are black American, you are a white, you are Caribbean, you are African, say something on this video so that we can know what solutions and, we can learn how to love each other as black people. Nobody will love us. No one will love us. Until next episode, peace be with you.